Hello Collins Cobras, this is Mrs. Hernandez, and today I'll be hosting your video for cross-canceling common factors when multiplying or dividing fractions. So using cross-canceling or the cross-eyed method is a great way to make multiplying fractions easier. The process is known to most as cross-canceling, but calling it cross-eyed method is fun and will help you remember how it works. So here's how it works. Before multiplying two fractions, that's important, before multiplying two fractions, find the numerator of one and the denominator of the other. That's why it's called cross-eyes. Check to see if they share a common factor. If they do, divide both by the common factor. The answers you get become your new numerator and denominator. So let's review what a common factor is, because that's going to be very important for cross-canceling. A common factor, and you're going to want to make sure you're using the greatest common factor. For example, of 6 and 18 would be 6, because 6 can be divided by 6 and 18 can be divided by 6. 2 would also be a common factor for 6 and 18, but it wouldn't be the greatest common factor. And finding the greatest common factor is going to make your job a lot easier. So now that we've found a common factor, we're going to divide both of them by 6. We're going to divide 6 by 6 and 18 by 6. The answers replace the original numbers, and then you've got to remember to multiply by the new numbers. And when we're doing that, remember we're looking for the cross-eyes. So these would be cross-eyes for each other. And this numerator and this denominator would be cross-eyes for each other. So looking over here, we just said 6 and 18 both share a common factor of 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. My new numerator right here is 1. 18 divided by 6 is 3. My new denominator over here is 3. Checking these cross-eyes, I do not see any common factors, so they will have to stay the same. So now when I multiply, and remember we multiply fractions straight across, 1 times 7 gives me 7, and 10 times 3 gives me 30. And this is my final answer because doing cross-canceling makes sure that my final product is already simplified. So this would be the final answer. But we have some special situations that we want to look at also. Sometimes the cross-eyed numerator and denominator are the same number. This means both numbers cancel to 1. So let's look at an example. So this numerator and this denominator are cross-eyes. This numerator and this denominator are cross-eyes. Here I can see that 3 and 3 are the same number. They share a common factor of 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Now I'm going to multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 1 is 4. Because I did cross-canceling, my product is already simplified, so that is my final answer. Here's another special situation. Sometimes both cross-eyes can be canceled. So let's look at this example. This numerator and this denominator are cross-eyes. This numerator and this denominator are cross-eyes. I'm looking for the greatest common factor for my first set, which is 14 and 7. The greatest common factor for those would be 7. So 14 divided by 7 is 2. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Alright, for my second set of cross-eyes, I've got 3 and 15. They share a common factor of 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And now I have to remember to multiply using my new numbers in the numerator and the denominator. So 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 1 is 5. And this answer is already simplified because of cross-canceling, so I've got my product simplified already. Okay, so let's take a look at these hints down here at the bottom. Note that some pairs of fractions cannot be canceled and must be multiplied as the problem is written. That will happen sometimes where there are no possible options for cross-canceling. We also need to remember that when we cancel, the numbers get smaller and are easier to work with. This is why cross-canceling is helpful. You are actually reducing the answer to the lowest terms before you multiply. This method can be used when dividing fractions too. We just have to remember to invert the second fraction and write as multiplication before cross-canceling. Now on our second page, we have some examples to practice with. Okay, so looking here, I'm checking this numerator and this denominator and to see if they have any common factors, 6 and 27. They do not share any common factors. I cannot do any cross-canceling there. Looking at 17 and 34, you might be tempted to think that there's not a common factor here, but 17 is a multiple of 17 and 34 is a multiple of 17, so they share a common factor of 17. So 17 divided by 17 would give us 1, and 34 divided by 17 would give us 2. Now we're ready to multiply. So 6 times 2 gives us 12, and 1 times 27 gives us 27. Okay, our next example has 6 and 9 across from each other. These are both multiples of 3. They share a common factor of 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 2 and 7 do not share any common factors, so we'll leave them alone. Our numerator is 2 times 2, which is 4. And our denominator is 7 times 3, which is 21. And we have a product that's already simplified. Okay, one pair of cross eyes in our next example is 2 and 18. These share a common factor of 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Again, we have 2 and 7 across from each other, which we already know do not share any common factors, so we'll leave them alone. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 7 times 9 is 63. Okay, and our final example. Four and 12 share a common factor of 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 5 and 5 share a common factor of 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 5 times 4 is 20.